Oi, oi, the edger. I wanted to make a comment about. It's not just about Ollie Robertson, the cricketer, and his tweets, but it's a certain part of our culture that we've come to identify with at the moment, the cancel culture. Now, I'm an anarchist. I'm opposed to any oppressive forces. So that things like racism, sexism, homophobia, misogyny are the worst of those in our society. They have no part in our community and in our society whatsoever. And anyone that knows me knows that I've spent my majority of my adult life campaigning and fighting against that. But there is an issue where we don't allow people to have personal growth. And, you know, if I look at certain people around me, you know, I was born in London. I moved to Coventry, a very ethnically diverse city, and then moved to Scarborough where everyone was white. And I look at the people around me and they were all white, and many of them were brought up as teenagers with certain negative views and racist views. If I look at, you know, I grew up, my biggest influence, I didn't have very positive role models, but my biggest role model, my most positive role model was my grandfather, a war hero, someone I respected as a human being and as a, you know, as a person. And he had racist views. He was racist. Now, this was the person I loved and respected the most, more than anyone in my life. And the only people that were telling me that, you know, racism was negative was the, you know, certain teachers who discriminated against me for having ADHD and treat me like I was a monster because I couldn't sit still in class and concentrate. So why would I listen to those and not listen to that person? Now, should I, as a teenager, when these tweets were made by Ollie and he was a teenager, be held accountable? Well, yeah, I should be held accountable. I should be made to say and explain why I maybe had those views. But also, equally, and more importantly, someone should be allowed to discuss their evolution in their thought process and how they've changed their viewpoints. Because actually someone who has maybe grown up in a racist household surrounded by racism and then has changed their viewpoints is stronger, shows greater strength and greater evolution of thought and mind than someone that's maybe been brought up in a liberal household where they're taught those things are wrong, like my kids have been. Do you know what I mean? So I think we need to be really careful, because how far do we go back? Am I going to get called out because, you know, when I was 1 year old, I was shitting my nappy? You know, we have to allow people to evolve and change. And yes, it's right that these tweets should be called out and spoken about. You know, I used to believe that the best way to fight racism was with violence, you know, when I was younger. And I was allowed to evolve and now know that it's education and discussion and enabling people to just say, okay, that's your viewpoint, I understand why you're angry, but what about this? And allowing people to have that evolution of mind and stuff. And those people that are racist and do evolve their minds, you know, I've got so much respect for them. And, you know, most don't, but I have had conversations with racist people who have thanked me years on because they said, look, I've just never had those views told to me before. And it's really made me challenge things and stop and think, and can you give me some more? That, I respect that person incredibly. Do you know what I mean? There is a lad who might be watching this now, and then you know who you are. And we had a discussion online, and I didn't aggressively, you know, call him names or anything. I said, look, I get why you're angry. As a working class white person in an area where I live now, you know, it's about class, and we are, you know, we are crapped upon by the middle and upper classes. There's no doubt about it. And by the ruling class and by the Conservative government. So working class white people are angry, are very angry. Yeah, I'm not saying they have more right to be angry than a working class non-white person, but in general they are angry and have a right to be angry. But they often point their anger in the wrong direction. It's the people that are in charge of making the decisions that the vitriol should be pointed at, not someone who actually we have more in common with a Syrian refugee who's, you know, trying to make their way with no money as we do Boris Johnson, do we? You know, they're worlds apart. I have more in common with a Syrian refugee who probably lives on my street than I do Boris Johnson, who's, you know, pays 20 odd grand a year for, you know, takeaway from a gourmet restaurant. You know, that's a different reality to what we feel, and it's looking at these commonalities and sharing those. So yeah, you know, I've rambled on, but my viewpoint really is just to look at allowing people to change and celebrating that. You know, someone who even 2 weeks ago was racist and very racist and even campaigning against racism, who then asked for books because they've had their mind changed. That is strength. That's turning your back on your friends, on your family that's told you certain things, etc., etc. That shows greater strength, like I said, than someone that's been brought up in a liberal household and told that racism is wrong. So I really do take my hat off to them, and we need to celebrate that and be proud of those people and not have anger because they said something wrong in the past. You know, my views have changed. Very much from when I was a teenager. You know, when I was a teenager, I was humping chairs because I was so horny. You know, would I do that now? Probably not. So should I be held accountable for what I did then? You know, probably not, because we evolve and change. So yeah, I understand that if I was homosexual, or if I was of an ethnic minority and seeing a racist or homophobic tweets, I'd be really pissed off. I'm pissed off as a straight white person. The same as someone who's got, you know, multiple disabilities and is, you know, neurodiverse. I still get. I got really angry the other day because a company put out mental health merchandise to celebrate mental health, and then had ADHD on it. Well, it's not mental health. It's a developmental condition. Sorry, I'm mashing my words there. I haven't got a mental health problem. I've got a neurodevelopmental condition, a different thing, and it makes me angry that it makes it out to be something that can be cured by a bit of counselling or some medication. Do you know what I mean? So, but you know, I said to that I emailed that company, and they got back to me and said, "Do you know what? You're right, and we haven't even thought of that." And I acknowledged that we're trying to do something positive, and I said, let's have a discussion how we do this differently. Should I, you know, try and get that company banned, or should I celebrate them for how they responded and that they're actually trying to do something positive and now make changes? Do you see what I mean? I'm rambling on now about the point, but I think we just need to be careful, and there's certain things that should be celebrated, and actually evolution of thought is one of those. Education is the most powerful tool. And someone who was racist and actually saying that I'm no longer racist or I'm no longer homophobic is a really powerful tool than someone that says, oh, I've never been racist or anything like that. You know, those people I want to learn more about. That they can teach us more how we do challenge racism, because they've been racist and changed their minds. They're the people we need to talk to. They're the people who need to start challenging it and saying, look, I was like you. And finding those commonalities with those people and helping change things. So yeah, let's just be a bit more careful and a bit more understanding, and start, you know, start looking who people are now. Who, you know, and obviously there are a lot of people who, this closet racism drives me nuts. People like Nigel Farage who every single thing and action that they do shows xenophobia, but they are not brave enough to actually be racist. These people that we need to call out, who saying I aren't racist and I don't like racist, they're the people that we should be attacking, because they are racist. There's no two ways about it. Actions speak louder than words. So you can say you're not racist, but when people have actually changed, let's applaud them and let's celebrate them, not condemn them. So yeah, that's me. Happy for anyone to discuss and disagree as always and have those conversations. I hope you're all having a lovely day, and much love to you all. Peace out.